We all agreed, "You're not welcome at Christmas," Mom said with that sarcastic smile I'd seen my whole life. I stood there holding my phone, still showing the $5,000 wire transfer I'd just sent for their dream turkey dinner. The same dinner I'd been funding for 3 years without a single thank you. What they didn't know? I wasn't just paying for dinner, I was paying their mortgage, their car insurance, their emergency credit cards. And in exactly 12 hours, every single payment would stop, permanently. By the time you finish this story, you'll understand why sometimes the best gift you can give toxic family is consequences. If you've ever been the family ATM, hit subscribe because this gets wild. I promise by the end, you'll see exactly how I got my freedom back. My name is Rebecca Martinez, and I'm 35 years old. I live in a nice one-bedroom apartment in downtown Portland, the kind with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the city lights that makes you feel like maybe you've made it. I'm a senior marketing director at a tech company, pulling in about $120,000 a year. Not bad for a girl who put herself through college on scholarships and student loans while working 2 jobs. I grew up being told I was the golden child, the smart one, the responsible one, the one who'd make something of herself, and I believed it. God, did I believe it? That Tuesday afternoon, I was sitting in that apartment, scrolling through my phone during my lunch break. I'd just ordered Thai food and was looking at the family photos on my bookshelf. There's one from Thanksgiving last year, all of us gathered around the table, smiling. Mom had her arm around me. Dad was carving the turkey. My younger sister Sarah and brother Mike were laughing at something. We looked happy. We looked like a family. That photo cost me $2,000. Not because I paid for the frame, but because 3 days before Thanksgiving, Dad called about a car repair emergency. His transmission was shot, he said. Needed it fixed immediately or he couldn't get to work. I wired the money without question. Found out later from my uncle that Dad's car was fine. He'd wanted to buy a new TV, but that was normal. That was just how things worked in our family. I picked up another photo, this one from my college graduation. I'm wearing my cap and gown, holding my diploma, and Mom's standing next to me with this proud expression. What you can't see in that photo is that 2 hours before the ceremony, she'd pulled me aside and asked if I could lend her $300 for bills. On my graduation day, I gave it to her. Never saw it again. My phone buzzed. A text from Mike. "Hey sis, can you Venmo me $500? Promise I'll pay you back this time." I counted in my head. That would be the 47th time he'd asked me for money. The number of times he'd paid me back? 0. But I opened my Venmo app anyway, like I always did. Because that's what good daughters do, right? That's what family does. Except this time, my thumb hovered over the send button. Something stopped me. Maybe it was the therapy session I'd had the week before, where my therapist had gently suggested I look into something called family enmeshment. Maybe it was exhaustion. Or maybe it was just that little voice in the back of my head that had been getting louder lately, asking why nobody ever asked how I was doing. I set my phone down without sending the money. Felt a knot form in my stomach immediately. The guilt was instant, sharp, familiar. My Thai food arrived, but I couldn't eat. Instead, I opened my laptop and did something I'd been avoiding for months. I logged into my bank account and pulled up my transaction history. Not just this month, but going back. Way back. 18 months of records loaded on my screen, and I started categorizing. Every wire transfer, every Venmo, every emergency check I'd written. I made a spreadsheet, put everything in columns: date, amount, recipient, reason given. 2 hours later, I stared at the total at the bottom of the page. $47,000. $47,000 in 18 months. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking. This couldn't be right. I checked the math again. Checked it 3 times. But there it was. Car repairs that never happened. Medical bills that insurance didn't cover. Emergency rent money. Utility shutoff notices. Credit card minimums. And the big one, the one that made my stomach drop. I'd been paying their mortgage for the past 14 months. $2,400 automatically withdrawn from my account every single month. My parents owned that house. It was in their name, not mine. I didn't live there. Hadn't lived there in 17 years. but somehow I was paying for it. And you want to know the really sick part? I hadn't even realized it. It had started as, "Just this month, honey, we're short." Then it was, "Just until tax return comes." Then it just became automatic. They never asked anymore. They just expected. I closed my laptop and called my best friend, Nora. "I need you to be honest with me," I said when she picked up. "Am I crazy?" Nora had known me since college. She'd watched this whole thing unfold over the years, and she'd gotten quieter about it recently. That should have been my first clue. "What happened?" she asked carefully. "I just added it up. The money I've given my family. Nora, it's almost $50,000. Silence on the other end. "Say something," I said. "I've been waiting 3 years for you to add it up," she said quietly. "Becca, honey, I love you, but your family has been using you as a bank for years. And every time I try to bring it up, you defend them." She was right. I knew she was right. But knowing something and accepting it are two very different things. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed scrolling through text messages from my family. They were all the same pattern. "Hi, how are you?" small talk. Then the ask. Always the ask. Sometimes they'd butter me up first. Sometimes they'd go straight to guilt. Mom's texts were the worst. She'd send me articles about ungrateful children. She'd post on Facebook about sacrifice and parenthood, always with these vague implications. Once, when I'd hesitated to pay for Sarah's car insurance, Mom had posted, "Some children remember their parents' sacrifices. Some don't." I'd sent the money within an hour. Couldn't stand the thought of being that ungrateful daughter. But lying there in the dark, I started seeing the pattern Nora had seen. The pattern my therapist had been gently pointing out. This wasn't normal family help. This was something else. The next morning, I had a follow-up session with my therapist, Dr. Chen. I brought my spreadsheet. "I want you to read something," she said after I'd shown her the numbers. She pulled out a printed article. "It's about financial abuse in families." "That's not what this is," I said immediately. "They're not abusive, they're just struggling." Dr. Chen gave me that patient look she has. "Read it anyway." I did, and with every paragraph I felt something crack open inside me. Financial abuse includes expecting someone to solve all your money problems, making them feel guilty for having boundaries, treating them differently based on whether they comply with financial demands, using emotional manipulation to extract money. Oh, God. "They made you feel like love was conditional on your usefulness," Dr. Chen said gently. "That's not love, Rebecca. That's exploitation." I wanted to argue, wanted to defend them, but I couldn't because she was right. The breaking point came 2 weeks later, on November 20th. I'd been trying to set small boundaries, saying no to some requests, asking for repayment plans, suggesting my brother get a job before I sent more money. And the temperature in my family had dropped to Arctic levels. I was removed from the family group chat. My calls went to voicemail, and the Facebook posts got more pointed. Mom shared a quote that said, "Blood is thicker than water unless your child is selfish." But I kept trying because that's what you do. You don't give up on family. Then came the call about Christmas. I'd already sent the $5,000 for the fancy catered dinner they wanted, premium turkey, all the sides, desserts, the works. It was supposed to be special. Mom had been planning it for months, sending me links to the menu, asking my opinion. I'd felt included, felt like maybe things were getting better. I called her that Tuesday morning to ask what time I should arrive on Christmas Day. "Oh," Mom said, her voice cold. "About that." The tone made my stomach drop. I knew that tone. That was the tone she used before she said something cruel and then called it just being honest. "We all agreed," she continued, and I could hear the sarcastic smile in her voice. "You're not welcome at Christmas." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What? Why?" "You've been so stingy lately, Rebecca. So difficult. We just don't need that negative energy at our celebration. We want it to be nice, peaceful." My hands were shaking. "Mom, I just sent $5,000 for the dinner." "And? You owe us that. We raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head for 18 years. You think that was free?" I heard laughing in the background. Sarah. My sister was laughing. Sarah's boyfriend is coming instead, Mom continued. He's more family than you've been lately. Something inside me shattered. Not broke, shattered, into 1,000 pieces that would never fit back together the same way. I pay your mortgage, I said quietly. What? I pay your mortgage, Mom. $2,400 a month for 14 months. That's $33,600. I pay Dad's car insurance. I pay your credit card minimums. I've given this family almost $50,000 in the last year and a half. Silence. And I'm not welcome at Christmas. Well, Mom said, recovering quickly, if you're going to throw money in our faces like some kind of, this is exactly why we don't want you there. You're too materialistic, too focused on money. I hung up, sat in my car in the parking lot of my office building, unable to move, unable to breathe. The panic attack hit me like a freight train, my first one ever. I called Nora and she talked me through it, but I couldn't stop crying. I'm not even worth a chair at Christmas, I sobbed. I'm not worth a place at the table I paid for. Babe, Nora said firmly, you are worth so much more than they will ever deserve. I went home sick that day, canceled my therapy appointment because I couldn't face leaving my apartment. I sat on my couch and ate a microwave dinner alone, scrolling through photos of previous family Christmases, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. But the thing is, it hadn't gone wrong. It had always been wrong. I just hadn't wanted to see it. Thanksgiving came and went. I spent it alone because I couldn't face explaining to friends why I wasn't with family, couldn't face the pity in their eyes. So I told everyone I was busy with work and ordered Chinese food. At 3 a.m. on December 1st, I found myself on the bathroom floor, looking at family photos on my phone, my mom's arm around me at my college graduation, my dad teaching me to ride a bike, Sarah and me as kids, playing in the backyard. Were any of those moments real? Or was I just a future investment to them? The smart kid who'd make good money someday. The thought that broke me was this. I gave them my money, my time, myself, and I'm still not enough. I'd been taught my whole life that family was everything, that you sacrificed for family. That blood was thicker than water, but nobody had taught me that family wasn't supposed to bleed you dry. For 3 days, I barely functioned, went to work, came home, stared at walls. My phone kept buzzing with texts from extended family. Apparently, Mom had told everyone her version of the story. Rebecca abandoned us. Rebecca thinks she's too good for us now. Rebecca forgot where she came from. Not one person asked for my side. On December 2nd, at 6 a.m, I was scrolling through Facebook when an article popped up in my feed. 10 signs you're the family scapegoat. I clicked it, read it, and felt my entire world shift. Every single sign applied to me. Every one. You're blamed for problems you didn't create. Your achievements are minimized. Your needs are ignored. You're criticized no matter what you do. You're expected to fix everyone else's problems. Your boundaries are labeled as selfishness. You're the family ATM. The comments section was full of people sharing their stories. Thousands of them. People who'd been where I was. People who'd gotten out. I called my therapist's emergency line. I need an appointment, I said when Dr. Chen called me back. Today, please. She fit me in at 4, and when I got there, I had my laptop with me, my spreadsheet, my bank statements, my text messages, everything. I'm the scapegoat, I said as soon as I sat down. That's what I am, aren't I? Dr. Chen looked at me with such compassion it made me want to cry. Yes, Rebecca, you are. And recognizing that is the first step. What's the second step? Deciding what you're going to do about it. I spent the next 2 hours in that session, and for the first time in my life, I felt angry. Not at myself. At them. Righteous, burning, clarifying anger. They'd used me for years. And when I'd finally started to push back, even gently, they'd thrown me away like garbage. Not even thrown away. I wasn't worth the effort of disposal. I was just uninvited, replaced, erased. You weren't the problem, Dr. Chen said. You were the solution they exploited. And now they're panicking because their solution is developing self-awareness. I went home and did something I should have done years ago. I researched narcissistic family systems, financial abuse, generational trauma, the scapegoat role. I read articles and research papers and forum posts until my eyes burned, and I learned something that changed everything. I wasn't alone. According to what I read, 27% of Americans have cut off contact with family members. 27%? More than 1 in 4 people. This wasn't some rare, dramatic thing. This was common. This was survival. I found an online support group called Adult Children of Narcissists, created an anonymous account, posted my story. Within an hour, I had 50 responses. All of them said the same thing. This was my family too. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel crazy. I felt seen. I called Nora. "I need help," I said, "real help." "I've been waiting 3 years for you to say that," she replied. "I'm coming over." She arrived with wine, takeout, and her laptop. We sat on my couch, and I showed her everything: the spreadsheet, the texts, the voicemails I'd saved where Mom's voice dripped with contempt. "Holy shit, Becca," Nora whispered. "This is abuse. This is actual financial abuse." "I know." "What are you going to do?" I looked at my bank statements, at the automatic payment schedule, at the life I'd been funding for people who wouldn't even let me sit at their table. "I'm going to stop," I said. "Stop what?" "All of it." I spent the next week planning, and I didn't plan like someone having an emotional breakdown. I planned like the senior marketing director I was. Strategic, methodical, surgical. First, I took screenshots. Every text message where they asked for money. Every guilt trip. Every demand. I downloaded 3 years of bank statements and highlighted every transfer. I recorded the voicemail where Mom said, "You're dead to us," which she'd left after I'd asked for $500 back from a $2,000 loan. Then I met with a financial advisor, showed them the co-signed loans I'd discovered I was on, the credit cards in my name that my family was using, the mortgage payment that wasn't even for a house I'd ever benefit from. "You're liable for all of this," the advisor said grimly. "If they default, it hits your credit. If they don't pay, you're legally responsible." "Can I get off these accounts?" "With a lawyer, yes. It'll take time, but yes." So I hired a lawyer, a really good one who specialized in family financial disputes. Cost me $1,500 just for the consultation, but it was worth it. "What do you want to happen here?" she asked. "I want to be free," I said. "Legally, financially, emotionally. I want out. Then we'll get you out." The plan came together over 5 days. Phase 1, stop all automatic payments. Phase 2, cancel the Christmas dinner I'd already paid for. Phase 3, legal separation from all co-signed debts. Phase 4, no contact boundaries. I practiced saying no in the mirror, practiced not explaining, not justifying, not defending. Just no. Nora helped me role-play responses to guilt trips. "Your mother cries every night about you." "That's not my responsibility." "After everything we did for you?" "Parenting isn't a transaction." "You're tearing this family apart." "I'm not responsible for holding together a system built on exploitation." By December 14th, I was ready. I'd written a letter I'd never send, pouring out everything they'd done wrong. I'd built a support system. I'd armed myself with knowledge and legal protection. But most importantly, I'd built something I'd never had before, a protective shield made of self-worth. I didn't owe them my destruction. I didn't owe them my bank account. I didn't owe them my peace of mind. I didn't owe them anything. That night, I looked at my calendar. December 15th, 10 days before Christmas. The day their world would change and they wouldn't even see it coming. I set my alarm for 9 a.m. and went to bed. For the first time in months, I slept through the night. No anxiety, no guilt, just peace, because I knew what tomorrow would bring. And I was ready. The phoenix was about to rise, and she was done being their ATM. December 15th arrived like any other Tuesday morning. I woke up at 7, made coffee, did my usual routine. But my hands were steady, my breathing was calm. I'd expected to feel nervous, maybe even scared. Instead, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, clear. At 9 o'clock sharp, I sat down at my laptop with my coffee and opened my bank account. The mortgage payment was scheduled to auto-draft tomorrow, the 16th. My fingers moved across the keyboard without hesitation. Cancel automatic payment. Confirm. Done. $2,400 per month. Gone. Next, Dad's car insurance. $340 per month that I'd been paying for 2 years. Cancel. Confirm. Done. Then the credit cards. 3 of them, all in my name, all being used by various family members who'd promised it was just temporary. $800 per month in minimum payments. Cancel. 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 The system sent automatic email notifications to the primary account holder, my mother, for each cancellation. I watched them queue up in my sent folder. 4 emails, 4 bombs about to detonate. I checked the time, 9:45 a.m. Next call, Premium Catering Company. Good morning, this is Premium Catering. This is Jennifer. How can I help you? Hi, Jennifer. I need to cancel an order for the Martinez family. Christmas Day delivery. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Let me pull that up. Can I have the name on the order? Rebecca Martinez. Keys clicking. Okay, I see it here. The Deluxe Turkey Dinner Package for 12 people. That's a beautiful spread. May I ask why you're canceling? Change of plans. I understand. Unfortunately, with only 10 days' notice, we can't refund the deposit. That's $5,000 that you'd be forfeiting. $5,000. I thought about what that money could buy. A vacation, a new laptop, 3 months of therapy. Or, apparently, a dinner for people who didn't want me there. I'm aware, I said. Cancel it anyway. Are you sure? We could potentially modify the order instead. Cancel everything, please. A pause. Okay, processing that now. Cancellation confirmed. I'm sorry it didn't work out. I'm not, I said, and hung up. 10:15 a.m. I opened my family group chat for the last time, the one where I'd been muted for weeks but never removed, because they needed to keep the channel open in case they needed something. I typed, effective immediately. All financial support has ended. You said I'm not welcome at Christmas. I'm respecting your boundary. I'm also respecting mine. Do not contact me unless you're ready to treat me like family, not an ATM. Rebecca. Send. Then I did something I'd never had the courage to do before. I blocked them, all of them. Mom, Dad, Sarah, Mike. One by one, I watched their names disappear from my contact list. My phone felt lighter in my hand. I wasn't done. I changed every password they might have access to. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, my bank account, my email. I removed myself as an emergency contact from every form I could remember filling out. I sent an email to my HR department. Please note that family members are not authorized to contact me at work or visit the premises. By 11 a.m., I'd dismantled the entire support system I'd built for them over 15 years, and I felt nothing but relief. I put my phone on silent, face down on my desk, and went back to work. I had a presentation to finish, a life to live, a future that didn't include being someone's personal bank account. I didn't see the messages piling up, didn't hear the calls. By the time I checked my phone at lunch, I had 37 missed calls and 53 text messages. I didn't listen to a single voicemail, didn't read a single text. I just watched the numbers climb and felt a strange sense of satisfaction. They were panicking. Good. Let them panic. Let them feel, for just one day, a fraction of the anxiety I'd lived with for years, wondering how I'd cover their next emergency while still paying my own bills. But my cousin Maya managed to get through. She'd texted from a number I didn't recognize. Becca, it's Maya. New phone. Are you okay? Your mom is losing it. I stared at that text for a long time before responding. I'm better than okay. I'm free. Through Maya, over the next few hours, I got the play-by-play, and I'm not going to lie. Part of me savored every detail. 11:47 a.m. Mom got the bank notification about the mortgage cancellation. Maya said she heard the scream from across the house. She was visiting for the holidays, had front row seats to the meltdown. Noon. The emails about the car insurance and credit cards hit. Dad apparently threw his phone across the room. 12:15. Mike got pulled over for a routine traffic stop. No valid insurance. Car got impounded right there on the street. He had to call Sarah to pick him up, and she was livid because she was at work. 12:30. The catering company called Mom to confirm the cancellation. According to Maya, Mom's exact words were, "That ungrateful little bitch." Then she tried to book emergency catering. Found out nothing decent was available 10 days before Christmas, not in their price range, which, without my money, was significantly lower than they were used to. 12:45. The mortgage company's automated system sent an email, "Payment past due. Foreclosure proceedings begin in 30 days without payment." Mom called the bank, was told the automatic payment had been canceled by the account holder. "But I'm the homeowner," she'd screamed. "Ma'am, but you're not the payer," the rep had said. 1 p.m., the extended family group chat exploded. I wasn't on it, but Maya screenshot and sent me everything. "Mom, Rebecca has abandoned us. After everything we've done for her." Aunt Linda: "Wait, what happened?" Mom: "She canceled Christmas. She's trying to destroy our family." Uncle Joe: "Sarah, what's the full story here?" Mom: "She's always been selfish. We tried to include her, and this is how she repays us." Aunt Linda: "I'm confused. Rebecca has always been generous. Remember when she paid for your roof repair last year?" Mom: "That's different." Aunt Linda: "How?" No response from Mom. Then Aunt Linda again: "Sarah, I'm going to ask you directly. Was Rebecca paying your mortgage?" And the chat went silent. 2 p.m. My grandma called. I'd forgotten to block her. Answered without thinking. "Rebecca Lynn Martinez, how could you do this to your poor mother?" Her voice was sharp, disappointed. That grandmother tone that's supposed to make you feel 2 inches tall. "Grandma, did Mom tell you she uninvited me from Christmas?" "Well, she said you were busy with work. She said I wasn't welcome. I have the recording. Would you like to hear it?" Silence. "Grandma, did she tell you I've been paying her mortgage for over a year, that I've given them almost $50,000 in 18 months? Did she mention any of that when she was crying about me?" More silence. "I love you, Grandma, but I'm not going to be the family ATM anymore. If Mom wants to tell you her version, fine. But there are 2 sides to every story. Goodbye." I hung up and blocked her number too. It hurt, but I did it anyway. Because she'd chosen a side without hearing mine, and that told me everything I needed to know. 3 p.m. The flying monkeys arrived, family friends, church people, distant cousins, all with the same message. "How could you abandon your family?" I had a template response ready. I set a boundary. If they can't respect that, the relationship isn't healthy. I'm not discussing this further. Block, block, block. 4 p.m. Maya sent me another screenshot. Mom had posted on Facebook, "When your child betrays you after everything you've sacrificed." The comments were filling up. Lots of sympathy at first. Then Aunt Linda posted publicly, "Sarah, we need to talk. Rebecca showed me the bank statements. This isn't the story you're telling." I watched, refreshing the page as the narrative shifted. Other relatives started asking questions. Family friends who'd known me since childhood started commenting, "Rebecca has always been responsible and kind. There must be more to this story." Mom deleted the post within an hour, but the internet never forgets. People had screenshot it. The truth was spreading faster than her lies. 5 p.m. Sarah called from a blocked number. I picked up by accident, thought it was work. "How could you?" she screamed. "Do you know what you've done? Mom is having a breakdown. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. Mike's car got towed. Sarah? And Christmas is ruined. You ruined Christmas." Something in me snapped, not into anger, into clarity. "No," I said calmly. "I didn't ruin Christmas. I stopped funding it. There's a difference. You're destroying our family. I'm not responsible for holding together a system built on my exploitation. You want to know what destroyed our family? You all deciding I wasn't worth a seat at the table I paid for. You made that choice. I'm just honoring it. We didn't mean..." Yes, you did. And now you're dealing with the consequences. Goodbye, Sarah. I blocked the number. 6 p.m. I left work, stopped at my favorite sushi place, ordered way too much food, and took it home. Ate dinner on my couch, watching Netflix with my phone still on silent. The notifications kept coming. I didn't look. That night, Nora came over with wine and ice cream. "How do you feel?" she asked. I thought about it. Really thought about it. "Free," I said. "Sad, maybe, but free. They're going to try to get you back." "I know." "They're going to apologize." "Probably, but I'm going to need more than sorry. I need changed behavior. I need therapy. I need proof. And I'm not holding my breath." We clinked wine glasses. "To freedom," Nora said. "To freedom." Christmas came and went. I spent it with Nora and her family, people who actually wanted me there. We played board games, watched movies, laughed. Nobody asked me for money. Nobody made me feel guilty for existing. It was the best Christmas I'd had in years. Maya kept me updated through texts. The family Christmas was apparently a disaster. Mom cooked a basic meal that nobody raved about. Sarah's boyfriend didn't show. He'd heard about the family drama and decided to stay away. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. And someone mentioned me, and the whole table went silent. "Your mom tried to make a toast about family loyalty," Maya texted. "Nobody raised their glass? It was awkward as hell." On January 3rd, a letter arrived, handwritten, from my mother. "Dear Rebecca, we're sorry. We miss you. Christmas wasn't the same without you. Can we talk? Love, Mom." I read it 3 times, looked for the words that mattered. Acknowledgement of what they'd done, understanding of why I'd left, commitment to change, plans for therapy. Anything that suggested they understood this wasn't about me being dramatic. This was about them being abusive. Nothing. Just, "We're sorry and we miss you." Missing someone isn't the same as respecting them. Wanting someone back isn't the same as valuing them. I wrote back, "I'll consider contact when you've attended family therapy and demonstrated changed behavior over time, not before." R. Short, clear, boundary maintained. I didn't hear from them for 6 weeks after that. And you know what? I thrived. I got a promotion in February, Senior Director to VP of Marketing, $20,000 raise. When I got the news, my first thought used to be, I can help my family more now. This time, my first thought was, I can finally take that trip to Japan I've been dreaming about. I booked it that afternoon, 2 weeks in Tokyo and Kyoto, my first real vacation in 5 years, leaving in April. I started painting again, something I'd loved in college but stopped because Mom always called it a waste of time when you could be working. My apartment slowly filled with canvases, abstract stuff mostly, lots of reds and oranges, fire colors, phoenix colors. I went to therapy every week. Dr. Chen helped me work through the grief. Because it was grief, losing my family. Even though they were toxic, they were still mine, and mourning that loss was real and valid. "You're not mourning what they were," Dr. Chen said. "You're mourning what you wished they could be." That hit hard. But it was true. I joined a weekly book club, met people who invited me to things because they enjoyed my company, not because they needed something. Went to dinner parties where nobody asked me to pick up the check for everyone. Had conversations about books and movies and life that didn't revolve around someone else's crisis. On Valentine's Day, Nora dragged me to a fundraiser for the local women's shelter. "You're coming," she said. "No arguments. Time to get out there again." That's where I met James. He was volunteering too, working the registration table. Funny, kind, self-sufficient. He had his own career, his own apartment, his own life. When he asked me to coffee, he paid for his own drink. Didn't even try to pick up mine, just assumed we'd split it. I almost cried. It was the most romantic thing anyone had ever done for me, treating me like an equal instead of an ATM. We started dating slowly, and when I told him about my family situation, he didn't tell me to forgive them, didn't tell me I was overreacting. He just said, "That must have been really hard. I'm glad you got out." In March, I started an anonymous blog, The Family ATM, My Recovery Story. I wrote about everything, the financial abuse, the guilt, The escape, the healing, the comments came flooding in, hundreds of them. This is my story, too. I thought I was the only one. Thank you for putting words to what I couldn't explain. I became a moderator for an online support group, started helping other people recognize financial abuse in their families, gave them the permission I wish someone had given me earlier. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to walk away. One night, I got a message from a 23-year-old woman named Emily. She'd found my blog, read every post. My parents expect me to pay their rent, she wrote. I just graduated college. I'm drowning. But they say I owe them for raising me. Is that true? I wrote back, you don't owe anyone your destruction. Parenting is not a loan. You didn't ask to be born. They chose to have you. That's their responsibility, not your debt. You are allowed to build your own life. She wrote back a week later. I said no. For the first time in my life, I said no. They're furious, but I feel like I can breathe. Thank you. That's when I realized my pain had a purpose. Every dollar I'd lost, every moment of anxiety I'd endured, every tear I'd cried, it all led to this: helping others escape what I'd escaped, turning my trauma into someone else's roadmap to freedom. April arrived. My trip to Japan was in 2 weeks. I'd saved the money myself, budgeted carefully, and when I checked my bank account, I had enough for the trip plus a healthy emergency fund, because nobody was draining me anymore. I thought about my family sometimes, wondered if they were okay, hoped they'd figured things out. But I didn't reach out, because I'd learned something crucial. You can love people and still protect yourself from them. You can wish them well from a distance. You can hope they heal without making yourself their healer. One afternoon, I was in a coffee shop working on my laptop when I overheard 2 women talking at the next table. I just feel so guilty, one said. My mom keeps calling about money and I want to help, but I'm barely making ends meet myself. The other woman said, but she's your mom. You have to help family. I almost didn't say anything, almost minded my own business. But then I thought about Emily, about all the people in my support group, about myself 3 years ago. I turned around. Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you don't have to help, not if it's destroying you. Family shouldn't cost you everything. The woman looked at me, tears in her eyes. But I feel so selfish. Protecting yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. I grabbed a napkin, wrote down my blog URL. Read this. You're not alone. 2 days later, I got a comment on my blog from a new user. I was in that coffee shop. I read everything. I called my mom today and set a boundary for the first time. She hung up on me. But I'm okay. Thank you for your courage. 6 months after I'd pressed those cancel buttons, I stood in my apartment looking at the life I'd built, the paintings on my walls, the Japan guidebooks stacked on my coffee table, the photo of me and James at a concert, both of us laughing, the messages from my support group, people healing and growing and finding themselves. I thought about that spreadsheet. $47,000 in 18 months, except now, 6 months later, I'd saved $23,000, money that would have gone to fund a family that didn't value me. Instead, it was funding my life, my dreams, my future. Was it worth it? Every single dollar. Because here's what I finally understood. The best revenge isn't hurting them. It's healing yourself. It's building a life so beautiful, so peaceful, so authentically yours that their chaos can't touch it. They didn't give me freedom. I took it, and that made all the difference. My phone buzzed, a text from James. Dinner tonight? My treat. Unless you want to split it. I'm flexible. I smiled, typed back, let's split it. Meet you at 7. Equal partnership, mutual respect, authentic connection. Turns out, that's what family is supposed to feel like. I grabbed my jacket and headed out the door. The sun was shining. I had plans with someone who actually wanted to spend time with me. My bank account was healthy. My heart was healing, and for the first time in 35 years, I wasn't carrying anyone's weight but my own. I passed my reflection in a store window and stopped, really looked at myself. 6 months ago, that woman had been exhausted, anxious, hollowed out from giving too much to people who'd never give back. Now, she looked alive. I kept walking, and I swear to God, I felt lighter with every step, because I finally understood something that changed everything. You can't buy love. You can only rent compliance. And I was done renting.